Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Monday, January 27th, 2025. I, of course, am with Hammer Solutions here with your daily mortgage rate update, the only place on the web where you get to join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Broadcasted to you on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're here live, say good morning. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget, give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. Whether you are here live or on the replay, don't forget to smash that like button. If you're on Facebook, give us a thumbs up on the like, tag an LO friend, maybe click share and share this post in one of the mortgage groups. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and click that subscribe button as well. Let's go ahead and say hi to the live folks here this morning. Monica Dinkins, good morning. Great to have you here. Only a handful of you on this morning, so I guess it's a slow morning this morning. We'll see how things go. So I am fighting getting sick. I don't get sick. Tell my wife, I don't get sick. So I am not going to get sick. But man, am I fighting it right now. Feeling a little spacey this morning. So good morning, Rob Stewart. Great to have you here as well. Mike Schmolgan, good to see you, sir. Hope all is well in your world. If you're here this morning, say good morning. Let me know how many of you were watching the football games over the weekend. Man, that Chiefs-Bills game, what is it like to be Josh Allen? They just keep going up against the Chiefs, and they just can't beat them. Man, that is tough. So this is a replay of the 2022 Super Bowl, Eagles and Chiefs. Who are you voting for who are you rooting for more than voting for, right? Who are you rooting for? I'm rooting for the Chiefs. New York Giants fan for a long time. So you will, although I love Saquon Barkley because he was a Giants player, he's on the Eagles, and I can't get behind the Eagles. Can't do it. So I would like to see a 3P too. I think that KC, even though they get a lot of flack and people say they get the refs in their corner, I think they are that good. So good morning, Megan Lindberg, Mallory Fotiadis, Monica Dinkins. Good morning, Mr. Ron Siegel. Ron says today is National Thank China Day. No, he said it is National Chocolate Cake Day. I can get behind that chocolate cake. So there's a question of the day. What is your favorite? Mike's tired of the Chiefs. Why though? How can you be tired of because they win? I mean, again, I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I think it's pretty awesome. Yeah, the question of the day. What's your favorite kind of cake? I got to find it and I'll put it on here. Hold on a minute. I'm looking for it. Here it is. What's your favorite kind of cake? What's your favorite kind of cake? I'm putting it up there. Good morning, Kenny Rivard, Randy Teagle, giddy up, sir. Bill Stevens, Monica Dinkins. She's going Eagles. No Eagles, Monica. No Eagles. Julie Lawrence, Harry Dennis, great to have you all here. Mike Schmogan's going for red velvet cake. What makes it red? Is it just food dye? Is it food dye number 3? Food dye number 3 has actually been banned now. Ron Siegel said it's National Chocolate Cake Day. I would say chocolate cake. Angel food cake? Devil's food cake? Devil's food cake is chocolate cake, right? I mean, that devil's food. So I'm going with devil's food cake. Chocolate cake. Nice. Yum. I love all good. Love a good all chocolate cake. I'm with you, Monica. I love chocolate. That's the reason I'm fat, is because I love sugar. So I would love to not be fat either. So anyway, good morning, y'all. What is your favorite kind of cake? Let me know in the comments. Looks like we got a full crowd today. So let's go ahead and get to the good stuff, and we'll see where we're at. So hold on a minute here. I'm going to go ahead, and I don't have any of the thirds up for today. Sorry, y'all. I'm just getting things done this morning, but let me go ahead and pop up the screen. So this morning, mortgage-backed securities currently up 18 basis points to start the day. The reason for that, let's see if we can't. Nope, let's zoom in and refresh and zoom in on this. Hold on a minute. Let's zoom in on that for you. The reason for being up 18 basis points, look at this huge spike in overnight trading. You could see it as well on the 10-year Treasury yield. Last week, we saw the 10-year Treasury yield creeping up worse, right? On Tuesday, 4.58, then 4.6, then 4.65. A little bit better on Friday at 4.62, and then this morning 4.55. Why did we see this big drop in 10-year Treasury yield and this huge jump in mortgage-backed securities? It was due to flight to safety, a good old-fashioned flight to safety. Now, we haven't seen a flight to safety like this in a long, long time. Hold on, let me go ahead and where's my little thing to change my camera stuff? I don't know. Let me make this smaller so it fits on the screen. Forgive me. Let's see here. There you go. There's that one. And there's that side. All right. So huge drop in tech stocks. Tech stocks getting hammered this morning. NVIDIA falling 12%. NVIDIA has been the holy grail of tech stocks because of the chips for AI. That's where the money is. There was a huge sell-off in tech stocks today. That money going to bonds. That's why we see such a huge improvement in bonds. Dow tumbles 200 points. NASDAQ drops 3%. Is China? This is 3%. This is 12%. And China's DeepSeek triggers global sell-off. So what is this actually all about? U.S. technology firms plunged in trading, pre-market trading, as Chinese startup DeepSeek sparked concerns over competitiveness in AI and America's lead in the sector, triggering a global sell-off. Shares of chip designer NVIDIA took a huge fall. They were part of the huge AI hype. It's like the tech bubble of the 90s. DeepSeek launched a free, open source, large language model in late December, claiming it was developed in just 2 months. Yeah, because China is always telling the truth. I mean, they never lie. At the cost of under $6 million versus how many billions have we thrown at AI, right? A much smaller expense. I think that's like the understatement of the year than the one called for by Western counterparts. Last week, the company released a reasoning model. Now, this I think is all hogwash. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think that China created this amazing AI tool that it just like, wow, we just, we were kind of like sitting around, we were playing backgammon, dominoes, we got bored. So we spent 2 months and came out with this wicked AI. And it only cost us under $6 million. If you think that's true, let me know in the comments if you think that's true. I think this is happy horse shit right there. However, this part you can't argue with, and this part's very scary. Last week, the company released a reasoning model that also reportedly outperformed OpenAI's latest and many third-party tests. Now, I don't know what this actually means and kind of how that all works, but we'll see. Developments have stoked questions about the amount of money big tech companies have been investing in AI models and data centers. So this is scaring the markets. This is strictly an emotional response. So that puts us in a position that you just, let's ride the wave, cautiously float to start the day. But we want to be very careful because we can't trust where this is going to go and how long it's going to last, right? We have to be very concerned about this because when you see this kind of a jump, and again, it's only 20 basis points in bonds in mortgage-backed securities, but I mean, the 10-year Treasury yield is a huge drop in yield that we've had over the last couple of days. And it just, it all happened all at once in pre-market trading because of this. Now, these headlines, of course, stealing the news from what is coming up, which is the Fed meeting. We got the Fed meeting coming up on Wednesday. Right now, expectations are that the Fed will leave rates unchanged at this meeting. The meeting's on January 29th. It starts on Tuesday. It ends on Wednesday. The Fed policy statement comes out at 2 p.m. Eastern time. At 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, we get Fed Chair Jerome Powell's press conference. Now, right now, markets are anticipating we see a Fed cut by June. There's only a 20% expectation that the rates would be the same. Look at the change on that. A week ago, that was 35%. That's now down to 20%. So we've seen a big drop in expectation that we'll see rate cuts. And if you notice, though, the expectation that we'll see one cut hasn't changed. The expectation that we would see 2 cuts has grown. All right. So market's getting a little optimistic right now. If we get crushed on this, it's going to see mortgage rates take another jump up. Rates have been pretty good, 7.1. This morning, you would see that down significantly, probably like, I don't know, 7.06, 7.07, basically back to where we were earlier last week. So we've been in the low sevens, high sixes. This is the Mortgage News Daily. And then I've also been looking at Optimal Blues model. So like, that has this pricing 6.93, 6.94. This is what Optimal Blue says that people are locking loans at. So this is a free model, calculated from actual locked rates across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. So basically, if you use Optimal Blue to price and lock your loans, it's tracking that according to them. So but it does see rates moving lower from here. So we've got that also later in the week on Wednesday. We've got the Fed. Thursday, we've got GDP data. It's the first release of the fourth quarter GDP data. And then Friday, we have the PCE inflation data. Probably going to take more of a backseat because it's coming so quickly after the Fed meeting. We'd have to see a pretty big move to see a reaction to it. So Randy Teagle said they were playing checkers. What kind of checkers were they playing, Randy? Chinese checkers. Ron Siegel have been saying the markets are trading on false info, but you consistently say that the market always overreacts. I agree, with what Ron is saying here. Very much just we could see this. So basically, here's where you're at. I'll throw it on the bottom of the captions here. If you are, cautiously float, I'm putting this on here. And let's kind of talk about it. So here's the way that I look at this when it comes to locking or floating loans right now. I would be cautiously floating everything. If we see a pullback in mortgage-backed securities today and we see bonds lose these gains, right now they're up 16 basis points. If we see bonds lose these gains, if the 10-year treasury yield starts moving higher, if we see mortgage-backed securities lose that, you have to decide, are you going to flow into Wednesday's Fed meeting? If you're not committed to floating into the Fed meeting, then you would lock anything if we see any kind of pullback this morning, right? However, I don't think the Fed meeting is going to help us, but I don't know, right? We have to be ready to react. And it all depends on how markets react. And when we take a look here, this kind of scares me that markets are, it's a coin flip that we'll see a rate cut by May. Markets are coin flipping that we'll see a rate cut by May, and they're betting on cut or cuts by June. If Powell comes out there in his press conference and he sounds much more hawkish, that's going to create some concern here. Now, part of the reason you've seen such optimism here is that Trump hasn't come out shooting with tariffs. He hasn't come out guns blazing with the tariffs. The tariffs are not nearly as much of a thing as markets were afraid of. So that has part of why we're seeing this positive gain in outlook, this optimism that the Fed will cut. Now, remember, Trump wants the Fed to cut because when the Fed cuts rates, that spurs the economy. Trump wants to see the economy do well. That's always one part of his legacy is seeing the economy do well. That's one thing he's going to hang his hat on. And he's going to pressure the Fed. And again, historically, before Trump's last presidency, the Fed was generally not influenced by the president. The president just didn't really put their opinion out there on that. And Trump blew that out of the water last time he was in office. And he's like, hey, I have an opinion on this and I want them to hear my opinion on this. A lot of people made flack about that. I don't know why you'd make flack on it. It's not, again, he can't control them except for appointing them or, when they're up in that kind of a thing. He can't fire them. So Julie said, what do you think of the farm news coming out about illegal scared to work and fruit prices coming up soon? I think there's some legitimacy to that. It's a super complicated issue. I think a lot of the cost of food, though, is because so much of our food is produced by huge corporations. And I think that the corporations have been making a lot of profit. I don't feel that the corporations have been investing in labor. as far as the labor rates going up in food and if that could happen and that kind of a thing, again, it's a very complicated issue and we'll have to see it roll out, but it's certainly part of it. I mean, it could happen. I can't say that I believe it's going to happen yet, but it's certainly something that's been said. Ron said Nasdaq's already recovered, down 3.58 overnight to down to 2.86, recovering from the overreaction. Yeah, and that's what we want to be very aware of, y'all, is that recovery from the overreaction. Bonds are up 16 basis points, mortgage-backed securities, 10-year treasury at 4.54. If we see that change, if we see, if we lose these gains, you have to decide, are you floating into the Fed meeting? And there's no guarantee that I am not saying that I think the Fed meeting is going to help us. I think there's a lot of speculation that we're going to see rate cuts here. If this reverses, we're going to see rates go up. If this speculation that we're going to see, Fed rate cuts coming in May and June, if that falls away, we're going to see mortgage rates creep higher. Significantly higher? No, but eighth of a point, quarter point, higher is higher. So you have to decide. The one thing I like about the Fed meeting, as I always say, is you can float into it. It's in the middle of the day. It's one of the few things that we can actually float into and lock if the shit hits the fan instead of having to do it in the morning before that. Ron Siegel said the majority of our food is not coming from America. The average food item travels 1,700 miles before it gets to us. More water released in California will help food prices. Very cool. So, yeah, and there you go. So Julie's reply to that. So awesome. Love that y'all, talk amongst yourselves and come out and get these things squared away. So anyway, guys, I'm tired of babbling. It's been 17 minutes. I think today's a great day for pricing. Don't be afraid to lock up something if you're not going to float into this Fed meeting. The Fed meeting's coming on Wednesday. That's going to be the big part of the week. Thursday, we get the GDP data. That'll be a little bit of a hiccup. Friday, we're going to get that PCE data, but I think that has a lot less of an effect after because it's coming so soon after, and we don't have the next Fed meeting until March 19th. So, this particular PCE report will be long in the rearview mirror by the time that meeting comes. So I don't think you'll get a strong of a reaction from markets. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. So glad to have you here this morning. Remember that you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. If you'd like to sign up for our free email lock advice, you can sign up at www.ratelockadvice.com. Get an email to your inbox each and every weekday morning. Absolutely free of charge. Do with it what you will. Our text alerts are $7 a month. You don't have to spend a lot of money to protect your pipeline. This is going to be a volatile week. It's a good week to be signed up. RateTextAlerts.com. If you want a reminder that I'm going live each morning, you can go ahead and go to hmmr.io/reminder or use this cool QR code. Last but not least, check us out at originatorssuccess.com. Also, we're going to be rolling out Grab and Go Social hopefully next week. I'll let you know in a day or two if it looks like we're on pace to roll that out. Grab and Go Social is our newest product from Hammer Solutions, really focused on helping you to build your business online without all the rigmarole that so many other things do. You can't just post stuff and have it do well. You got to be out there and doing it yourself and doing some of it, but it doesn't need to take forever. So we'll talk more about that. Grab and Go Social. All right, y'all. I'll catch y'all later. Have a fantastic one, and I'll see you tomorrow.